Thank God for the lighthouse. Lord, I owe my life to Him. You can Jesus is the lighthouse. And from the rock to Him, and shone His light of love around me. And I didn't see just what it wasn't for the lighthouse. Tell me where was my defeat? We thank the Lord. Just want to read just a short Bible story to you.
Yes, Lord. Thank you.
Genesis chapter 43.
Yes, Lord.
May God bless.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Yes, Lord.
Don't forget your Bibles. Genesis. Genesis chapter 43. Familiar story. The story of Joseph. Sometimes you hear a story over and over again, and the more you hear it, the more you see
Yes, Lord.
some good things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Joseph was the youngest son of Jacob, and he was the son of his age,
Yeah.
and he loved Joseph.
Yes.
He gave him a beautiful coat of many colors. But Joseph was different from his brethren. Joseph was a special child, and what I mean by that, he was touched by God.
Oh, yes.
He was a dreamer,
Uh-huh.
and he would have dreams.
Yeah.
And he came and told his brethren, he said, I had a dream that you all were bowing down before me. Stars were bowing down before me. And the father, being a prophet, knew that it meant that he being the youngest, his oldest brothers would end up serving him.
Uh-huh.
Then he came back again and said, I had another dream.
Yeah.
Not only did I see stars bowing down, but I saw the sun and the moon. And his father, Jacob, said, what, will your mother and I also bow down before you? But you know, jealousy is something.
Amen.
It's a, what does it say? Cruel as death and strong as the grave.
Amen.
God have mercy on someone who falls in the path of a jealous person unrighteously so.
Yes, Lord.
The brothers became jealous. See, jealousy will cause you to strike out and hurt others because of your own bad feelings and thoughts.
Amen.
Because of your selfishness and covetousness.
Amen.
So they wanted to kill him. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
These were his brothers. If you are one who has a hard time forgiving, or you are full of jealousy, you need to let it go, because jealousy will cause you to hurt someone.
Amen. Yes.
They wanted to kill him, and they threw him in a well. But the big brother stopped them. But when he went back at night to get them, some merchants had came by and taken him up. And then they sold him into Egypt. And as you know, remember, he was bought as a slave, a servant in the captain of the guard's house. But God was with him. See, when God is with you, he'll be with you wherever you go. And though his brothers tried to kill him, you got to learn to see the hand of God in everything. God protected him, though he didn't understand. He was sold into slavery into Egypt, and when the captain of the guard saw how special he was, he gave him the keys to the house and said, you can run my whole household. The God before you, who can be against you? All things work together for the good to them that are called of God according to his purpose. A lot of things people may mean for bad for you. But when you call according to God's purpose, he will turn that around. He'll take that bad and make you glad. Glad that the bad happened. Because if the bad didn't come, then you would not have known how glad God could make you. I feel the virtue on that. If the trouble hadn't been there, then you would not have known how wise and powerful God was. If you hadn't have been thrown down and tossed down and ostracized and criticized, but then God took you up and turned you around, you might not have known how much you were loved of God. You might have thought you weren't worth anything until God stepped in. But if they hadn't have done what they did and said what they said, you would have never known. Joseph was blessed, and the man's house was blessed. You see, when you say I'm a blessed person, we can tell if you're a blessed individual, because wherever you go, it will be blessed also. But if you say you're a blessed person, but wherever way you go, you bring contention and hell and trouble and confusion, what kind of blessing you got? Amen. Brothers and sisters, I don't think I want it. But when you're blessed of God, then the blessing of God will follow you, because God wants everyone to know that you belong to him. Yeah. Abraham went to seek a city whose builder and maker was God. And everywhere he went, people would stop him. His wife was very pretty. And he would tell her to tell them, if we go before kings, that you're my sister, because I don't want them killing me for you. Amen. And so they went to one place, and the Pharaoh saw how beautiful his wife Sarah was, and she took him. Abraham said nothing. That's my sister. And he fed her and gave her clothes and gave Abraham money and ox and what have you. But before he could touch her, yes, Lord. See, God can stop anything. Amen. Before he would touch her, God came to him in a dream and said, don't you touch that woman. This man is a prophet. He's a blessed man. Yes, Lord. That's his wife. And the Pharaoh, not believing in God, got up and told Abraham, man, what are you trying to do? You trying to get me in trouble? Your God appeared to me. Why didn't you tell me that was your wife? Amen. Suppose I had have touched her, you'd have gotten me in trouble. And he blessed him and sent him on his way with more than he had, because Abraham was blessed. Amen. See, when you're blessed, blessings follow you. Yes. In every situation. Yes, yes, Lord. Blessings will follow you in the lion's den. Oh, yeah. Nothing can happen to you except God allow it. That's right. But one day Pharaoh was gone, the guard was gone, and the wife saw how handsome Joseph was, and said, listen, my husband's gone, we can get something. Let's do something. What a lesson he taught us. She said, nobody will know, nobody sees us, but we can make our love. The husband will never know. Sometimes people, we must learn to count the cost. Some things it's just not worth it. Amen. You see, before you make foolish decisions, consider what you may lose. Amen. Consider your blessings. Amen. Some people try to cause you to make irrational decisions because they try to make you feel as though you've gotten a shorted on the stick. Or maybe there's been respect to person, but you need to sit down and count your blessings so nobody can deceive you and rob you from your blessings and appreciation for what God has done. Yeah, that's right. And so when she came to Joseph and said nobody will see her, Joseph said, now your husband has given me the keys to every room here. He's counting his blessings. I got liberty. I can go and come as I please. Amen. Young people, why would I make this mistake and mess up where I'm at? Why would I mess up my blessings? Amen. He said, besides that, God sees me. Amen. God give us a God consciousness. Yes, Lord. I feel the virtue. Yes, Lord. Lord, we want to ask you right now to have mercy on us for everything you have seen, good and bad. And we're still here. Forgive us for that which wasn't right. She went to grab his clothes and he ran. Accused him of rape, he was thrown in jail. But you know, when God is for you, no weapon formed against you can prosper. They threw him in jail. See, you can boast on gifts you don't have. You can talk all this big talk about what you can do and who you are, but you don't have the fruit. You must not be telling the truth. You tell the tree by the fruit it bears. And a lot of times people say, I have to go over here, I had to leave them alone, I had to move, I had to do this because they always cause trouble. But everywhere you go, you got the same trouble.
Right.
So maybe you're the problem. Joseph was blessed. Son, they threw him in jail. Now he's a criminal, but he was innocent. The jailer saw what the captain of the guard saw. This boy is different. He gave him the keys. Your gift will make room for it. So, you don't have to step on other people's feet to get ahead.
Right.
You don't have to try to outdo someone else. If God's given it to you, no man can take it from you. He'll open the door. And now he's in jail with the keys to the jail. He's controlling the jail. But while in there, he's thinking about his family and how they did him. He's growing up by now. Two men had a dream. See, God will put in you what it takes to succeed in life. And sometimes he'll put it in you as a child.
Right.
Maybe you're going through a lot of things and there's a certain way of thinking, a certain feeling you get that always encouraged you.
Yes, Lord.
Because God will put in you what it takes to go through every obstacle
Yes, Lord.
you're going to face because he knows. And he gave Joseph the ability to interpret dreams. And while in jail, two men worked for the Pharaoh were there, and they had dreams. It just so happened, Joseph interpreted the dreams, and they came to pass. One died, as he said, one was restored to the Pharaoh. And Joseph told the one man that would live, remember me. Of course, the man forgot him.
Yes, Lord.
God doesn't forget us, but we do sometimes. But God has his perfect timing.
Yes, he do.
But one day, after a couple of years went by, and your patience possessed your soul, Pharaoh had a dream. Don't allow the pressures of life to cause you to give up too soon. You'll reap in due season if you faint not. Don't grow tired in doing what's right. And when the Pharaoh had the dream, it just so happened, the man whom Joseph prophesied on said, hey, I know somebody in jail that can tell you. You know, you can get anything in jail these days.
Amen.
You can find God too. There's a man in jail that can interpret the dream. Brought Joseph up, interpret the dream. Joseph became second in power over Egypt. The dream said that there was going to be a famine, a lack of food for 7 years. And Joseph said, this is how you ought to work with it. And the Pharaoh said, you be over it. So now we're at chapter 43. Joseph is over the land. He looks like an Egyptian. Nobody knows he's a Hebrew. Nobody knows his family. Nobody knows his story. Now, by this time, his dad is old. Joseph's mother is dead, but before she died, she had one more son named Benjamin, which was Joseph's brother, but he doesn't know. So Jacob, the old man, still mourning for the son he lost years ago, told his sons, there is food in Egypt. Go and get it. So when they went to Egypt to buy the food, Joseph recognized them. But he didn't say anything. He said, give them the food, and do this and do that, and put a little extra in one of their bags. And as they were going, he sent men to stop them. They said, somebody stole something. So we didn't steal anything. Well, what's this? They brought him back to Joseph. Joseph said, what, you're trying to steal from me? And they said, we didn't take anything. We don't know how it got in the bag. He started asking questions. Who you live with? Well, we got our father. Is the father yet alive? Yeah, he's alive. Do you have any more brothers? Yeah, we got one little fella. I tell you what, don't you come back here, get any more food until you bring me that young boy back. Sir, our father lost a son a long time ago. And this is the son of his youth. There's no way we could take this young boy, go get him and bring him back. We can't do it. Amen. Joseph said, don't come before my face. Now go. They went back, make a long story short, told Jacob what happened. And Jacob said, after a while, go back and get some more food. no, sir, we can't unless we bring Benjamin. You're not taking Benjamin. Joseph is gone. My heart is broke. If something happens to Benjamin, I would die. You're not taking my son, which was Joseph. Jacob had 4 wives, but Joseph and Benjamin had the same mother.
Yeah.
But Rachel died having Benjamin, and Joseph was nowhere around.
Amen.
So when he found out that that was a young brother
Amen.
from his mother that passed,
Amen. Yes, Lord.
I got to see him. Jacob wouldn't do it. Sometimes life situations forces us and puts us in position. That's why you got to be careful when you say never.
Amen. Amen.
That's why we have to say God will.
Amen.
Because he said, you're not taking my son. But the food got so scarce and it got so bad. He said, go get some food. They said, we can't go without Benjamin.
Amen. My Lord.
But the situation was so pressed.
Yes. Yes, Lord.
He said, go and take him. Then if I lose him, I just lose him. So now they're coming back. And I'm about through here. Listen to this carefully. See if I can read fast enough. Verse 40, chapter 43. And the famine was sore in the land, and it came to pass when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said unto them, go again and buy us a little food. Somebody ask me what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm reading the Bible. That's what we preach for, man. That's what I'm doing. And Judah spake unto him, saying, the man did solemn protest unto us, saying, you shall not see my face except the brother be with you. If thou wilt send our brother with us, we will go down and buy thee food. But if thou wilt not send him, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, you shall not see my face except your brother be with you. And Israel, which was Jacob, said, wherefore deal so ill with me, as to tell the man whether you had a brother? Why did y'all talk so much? Why did you even tell him you had a brother?
Amen.
And they said, the man asked us straightly of our state and of our kindred, saying, is your father yet alive? Have you another brother? And we told him according to the tenor of these words, because we certainly know that he would say, bring your brother down. And Judah said to Israel his father, send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and thou also and our little ones. I will be surety for him of my hand shalt thou require, if I bring him out unto thee, and set him before thee. Let me bear the blame forever, for except we linger, surely now we have returned the second time. And the father Israel said unto him, if it must be so now, do this. Take of the best fruits of the land, your vessels. Carry down the man a present, a little balm, a little honey spices, married nuts and almonds, and take double money in your hands. And the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks, carry it back, and peradventure it was an oversight.
Yes, Lord.
Take also your brother, arise and go to this man. And God Almighty give you mercy before that man, that he may send away your brother and Benjamin. If I be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. He had kept one of the brothers. And the man took the present, and they took double money in their hand, and Benjamin, and they rose and went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. Now, when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, bring these men home, and slay and make ready, cook food, for these men shall dine with me at noon. And the man did as Joseph bid, and the man brought the men into Joseph's house. And the men were afraid, because they were brought into Joseph's house, and they said, because of the money that we returned in our sacks at the first time. In other words, he brought us in here, we're in trouble now because of the money that we had. He's going to seek occasion to fall on us and take us. 19 says, and they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house, and said, oh, sir, we came down at the first to buy money, and it came to pass that when we came to the end, we opened our sacks. Behold, every man's money was back in his sack. Our money was full weight, and we have brought it again into our hands. And the other man, and the other money we brought down in our hands, we want to buy food. We cannot tell who put our money in our sack. And he said, peace be to you. Fear not. Your God and the God of your father has given you treasures in your sacks. I had your money, and he brought Simeon out to them, the other brother. And the man brought the men into Joseph's house, watch this, and gave them water, and they washed their feet, and gave them ash for vendor. And they made ready and presented against Joseph came at noon. Joseph came to dinner, for they heard that they should eat bread there. And when Joseph came home, they brought him and presented him, which was the presents which were in their hands, in the house, and they bowed themselves to the earth. And he asked of them, is your father well? The old man whom you speak, is he yet alive? And they answered, thy servant our father's good, and he is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and made obeisance. And he lifted up his eyes, are you with me? Yeah. And he saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son.
Yes.
And he said, is this your younger brother of whom you spake? He said, God be gracious unto thee, my son.
Amen.
And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brothers, and he sought where to weep. In other words, he left out. You ever been in a situation you got so emotional you didn't want everybody to see you crying?
Amen.
He left out. What comes from the heart